Manchester United players respond to Ruben Amorim's early touchline demands in Real Sociedad win. It was a Portuguese men of four as Manchester United beat Real Sociedad 4-1 through a Bruno Fernandes hat-trick and a goal from Diogo Dalot. The pre-match pyro, with red and white smoke floating innocuously into the sky, petered out quickly. But Manchester United did not go out of Europe. The manufactured effort to generate an atmosphere was unnecessary. United supporters were vocally befitting the occasion, their biggest game since the Europa League final in 2017. The players rose to it. United's season will have something riding on it after the clocks go forward. As pleasing as their progression to the quarter-finals was the performance, there were flickers that the players are starting to master Ruben Amorim's system. In Europe, at least. This was one of United's most enterprising and assured performances since their head coach touched down in Manchester 4 months ago. Given the magnitude of the match, it augurs well for the last 8 against Lyon next month. It is not a coincidence United operated so slickly with both of their winter transfer window signings in the starting 11th for the first time. Ayden Heaven and Patrick Dorgu were instrumental. Heaven, only 18, was preferred over Victor Lindelof for his first career start and looked as much of a veteran as the Swede on his 3rd United appearance. There is already a tremendous amount of goodwill towards the teenager who was so unconvincing for Arsenal when pitted against United in pre-season less than 8 months ago. Dorgu had little joy with a lot of shots, yet his relentless running took the game away from Sociedad. He cutely gained the tie-winning penalty before he was later upended by substitute John Aramburu, dismissed for a deliberate denial of a goal-scoring opportunity. Amorim applauded the latter, as much for Dorgu's relentless running as Aramburu's expulsion. It is a minor footnote that United produced such a crowd-pleasing performance without 11 players. The expectation, even for this goal-shy side, was still that they must win, and they did. They will have a more senior squad in France. United put 4 past an opponent for only the 4th time this season. They required 2 penalties, conversions number 35 and 36 for Bruno Fernandes. However United perform and whatever the manner of the goal, it is almost always Fernandes who gets it. He notched his first hat-trick since the opening day of the 2021-22 season against Leeds United. Fernandes' 3rd goal, running onto Alejandro Garnacho's layoff, was brimming with conviction. He is the only United player who truly has it. Ordinarily, the 4-1 scoreline would have flattered Sociedad, yet United reprieved them repeatedly. Unless Fernandes was staring down the goalkeeper, Alex Ramiro. Casemiro, responsible for picking the lock with a swift pass that led to the first penalty, could not watch either Fernandes kick from 12 yards. Erik ten Hag billed Casemiro as the cement between the stones, and it is pouring back in. The Brazilian has had his best week of the season. Casemiro was treated to a standing ovation when he made way in the 78th minute and patted the United crest as he acknowledged the crowd. Conceding in the 10th minute was just about the best thing that could have happened to United. Amorim has seldom been more irate on the touchline, as he was during that sloppy start that was compounded by Matthijs de Ligt ploughing through Mikel Oyarzabal inside the 6-yard box. The crowd, prone to venting and booing this season, never turned. Their support was unwavering. This will not be a night to bracket with any of the knockout games against Barcelona, Porto, Juventus or Roma, but it was an uplifting one after a progressive week. The volume remained, turned up, gone full time. Txiki Begiristain, the outgoing director of football at City, was in the director's box, enjoying some European football in Manchester. Lyon will have a larger and more partisan following in 5 weeks. They are unlikely to be subjected to the £5,000 pre-match pyro. 2 bursts of red and white smoke that fizzled out quicker than a firecracker. A reused surfer flag was unfurled. Sociedad were more intense in the first 70 seconds than in the first 70 minutes in San Sebastian. Amorim demanded an explanation for United's carelessness and soon beckoned Dorgu forward. Dorgu had to halt his sprint and head in the opposite direction after possession was ceded again. Oyarzabal skied a penalty at the Stretford end in 2021. At the scoreboard end, he scored. Andre Onana has now only stopped 2 out of 16 penalties he has faced for United, excluding shootouts. The busiest his night got was charging into the northeast quadrant to celebrate Diogo Dalot's added time strike. United Chief Executive Omar Barada echoed Amorim in midweek by referring to the way of playing. United played the ball beautifully in the 31st minute, with every outfield player in the Sociedad half amid the patient and probing passing. Hojlund steered Xerxes' slick cross wide of the far post, but they were among the goals on this night. Hojlund's physicality and alertness were reminiscent of his early days for United against Arsenal and Galatasaray. Jolted by his weekend demotion, he earned the penalty, drew blood from Igor Zubeldia, and was in the right place for Xerxes' cross, but got the finish wrong. The odd teammate has been berated by Hojlund in recent months. Garnacho received applause for his blocked cross in the 39th minute. Hojlund's drought still extended to a 21st match. Fernandes was not as forgiving when Garnacho failed to lay the ball off for him to shoot. Fernandes avoided backchat following his first half rugby conversion into the Stretford end. Fernandes can be cut some slack. He ensured the night ended with plumes of red smoke floating around the ground again. Meanwhile, in other news, Amorim breaks silence on Sir Jim Ratcliffe, claiming 5 Manchester United players are overpaid or not good enough. Sir Jim Ratcliffe was scathing in his analysis of 5 Man United players in an interview with the BBC earlier this week. Ruben Amorim has challenged Manchester United's players to prove co-owner Sir Jim Ratcliffe wrong after he said some were overpriced or not good enough. Ratcliffe told the BBC this week that Casemiro, Andre Onana, Rasmus Hojlund, Antony and Jadon Sancho are not good enough, and some probably are overpaid. Casemiro and Antony arrived at United within a week of each other towards the end of the 2022 summer transfer window. United paid Real Madrid £60 million, rising to £70 million, for Casemiro and made him their highest earner on more than £300,000 a week. Antony joined from Ajax for a fee rising to £86.3 million, and his salary was quintupled to around £200,000 a week. Onana and Hojlund joined the following year for £47.2 million and £64 million, rising to £72 million respectively. Sancho cost £72.9 million in 2021. Sancho and Antony have already been jettisoned by United and are only on loan at Chelsea and Real Betis. Onana, Casemiro and Hojlund could all start in Thursday's Europa League round of 16 second leg against Real Sociedad at Old Trafford. I think, if we are being honest in this moment, everybody, me, all the players, we are underperforming this season, Amorim said. So we can always change that, and I include myself in that part of the underperforming. You are talking about players like Casemiro, for example, that won everything, and we know these kind of players can play so much better. That is the focus. He was honest on that. The focus is to change his mind and change all the people's minds. If you are a top player playing in this club, even me, a lot of people say I am not good enough for the club. My feeling is that you can change that with results. In training, I feel that they want this really bad, especially for tomorrow. Ratcliffe gushed about Amorim during his media rounds this week, claiming the Portuguese has done a great job, even though United are 14th in the Premier League and set to suffer their lowest finish since they were relegated in 1974. United could salvage their season by triumphing in the Europa League, which would secure qualification for the Champions League. Ratcliffe half-joked that, I tell him where it's going wrong, and he tells me to fuck off. Amorim said his relationship with Ratcliffe has been really good since day one. He added, I think we are really blunt and honest with each other. He's a little bit of a character, we are quite similar in that. I always felt the support of the board and especially Sir Jim. I cannot tell you the conversations, but they are simple conversations. clear conversations, and honest conversations. Amorim added that none of the players had complained to him about Ratcliffe's comments. No, nothing. I didn't feel nothing. I really enjoyed the training today. Meanwhile, in other news, Andre Onana makes decision on Manchester United future. Andre Onana joined Manchester United for £47.2 million from Inter Milan, but has had a turbulent 2 seasons in the Premier League. Andre Onana is intent on staying at Manchester United next season, despite his struggling form. United head coach Ruben Amorim wants to sign a new goalkeeper in the summer, but Onana considers United to be the only club he wishes to play for. Onana, 28, has played 86 times for United and is under contract to the club until 2028, but his errors in recent months have brought his future into question. United are expected to recruit a new keeper for Amorim's first full campaign, as Tom Heaton is likely to retire when his contract expires in June. Number 2, goalie and Turkey international Altay. Bayındir's future could lie elsewhere should he seek more playing time before the 2026 World Cup. The Africa Cup of Nations is also staged in December and January in 2025-26, with an earlier start date of December 18th, which could deprive United of Cameroon international Onana for their festive fixture schedule. Onana has made 3 errors leading to goals in the Premier League, in the defeats to Nottingham Forest, Wolves and Brighton, and he was deemed culpable for both of Ipswich Town's goals against United last week. Onana is 16th for save percentage out of 22 Premier League goalkeepers. The former Ajax and Inter Milan goalkeeper made impressive stops from Fulham playmaker Emile Smith-Rowe during the FA Cup 5th round loss, but he also irked the crowd with his slow restarts at goal kicks. United signed Onana from Inter Milan in a £47.2 million deal in July 2023 to reunite him with his former Ajax coach Erik ten Hag. If the club wished to sell Onana, they would require a fee of £28.32 million, the remaining cost of his fee spread over the remaining 3 years of his contract, to avoid a loss under the Premier League's profitability and sustainability rules. Another quirk is United have not outright sold a number 1 goalkeeper since Alex Stepney's 12 years at the club came to an end in 1978. Onana recently switched to the Lyon Sports Group agency, but sources say that was a personal move and not made with the intention of seeking a transfer. Amorim has publicly defended Onana and felt it was harsh to pin Jadon Philogene equaliser for Ipswich on the goalkeeper. He did some great saves that saved our team, and sometimes he has some problems, but that is normal, Amorim said on Friday. And if you look for our team, you can find a lot of players with that issue. I think we are not performing so well as a team, and sometimes players have a problem. People talk about the second goal from Ipswich. He is waiting for the touch of Delap. That is really clear. And then the ball continues to the goal, so that can happen. We just have to support Andre and forget about the past and prepare for the future. Meanwhile, in other news, Ruben Amorim is facing his Erik ten Hag Cristiano Ronaldo moment at Manchester United. Garnacho hit the headlines after storming down the tunnel in the win against Ipswich. Alejandro Garnacho stormed down the tunnel after being substituted before half-time against Ipswich last night. The Argentine international was sacrificed for Noussair Mazraoui on the 45th minute, as Ruben Amorim wanted to bring on a defensive option after Patrick Dorgu's red card. United fans will know that this is not the first time one of their attacking stars has stormed down the tunnel in a strop before the full-time whistle. Cristiano Ronaldo infamously left Old Trafford early after Erik ten Hag refused to bring him on against Tottenham 2 seasons ago. Ruben Amorim is now facing his own Erik ten Hag Cristiano Ronaldo moment with his 20-year-old star. Can he take a leaf out of the former United manager's book when dealing with Garnacho? Ronaldo only appeared 4 more times for United after his touchline tantrum. The all-time great had a fractious relationship from the off with ten Hag, but it was the game against Spurs where things first boiled over publicly. The Dutchman sanctioned Ronaldo by dropping him for the next United game away at Chelsea. Amorim, who has previously left players including Garnacho out of his squad due to discipline issues, could employ a similar tactic to his predecessor. "Was cold and wet, maybe," Amorim said, when asked about Garnacho's actions. "The thinking was that we played more in 5-3-1. I know that's a risk because we take the only player now that has 1-against-1 and pace. What I am saying is, I'm going to talk with Garnacho about that. I will talk about that if you want in the next press conference." Ten Hag seemingly ruled the United dressing room with an iron fist. Dropping Ronaldo after his incident was the first instances of him stamping down his authority on his squad. Even though Ronaldo did play for Ten Hag again, and even captained the side in his last appearance for the club in a 3-1 loss at Villa Park, the relationship between the two had broken down after the Tottenham game. Garnacho was dropped against Manchester City, along with Marcus Rashford in December, and was linked with a move to Chelsea last Moncht, although his desire was to remain at Old Trafford. It would not be a surprise if Amorim was to leave Garnacho out of his starting line-up for Sunday's FA Cup tie against Fulham, or potentially even the squad entirely. Subscribe for more inside updates.